then it just sort of grew from there. And obviously the community that I've built are sort of around like the cannabis community and I don't know, just like free what do I want to say, spiritual people, and like I don't know, there's like a mixed vibe, like just good vibes, you know how it is, just people that are on a wave.
I was going to ask you,
kind of got to be with my art,
but I was wondering how, I'm trying to think of how to word this.
No, go on, because I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Do you find that openly smoking weed, are you scared that your account's going to be taken down? Like, is that something that scares you? And do you find that when it comes to, like we say, obviously going by society's standards, smoking cannabis is always portrayed as not being very professional? Do you are you ever worried that maybe some bigger clients aren't openly wanting to work with you because you are so openly open? Say open again. Open. You are so open about smoking weed.
We personally think it's a great thing.
I think it's
it's fun. Honestly, I've got no like qualms with how people view it, because I know that there are a lot of people who follow DoodLEX who aren't cannabis smokers, or they aren't like, they don't necessarily use drugs recreationally the way that I sort of like celebrate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I definitely like everything you, as soon as you said like I was like, I know where this is going, because this is a thing that I think about all the time.
I think it'd be silly if we didn't ask that, because it's like a big part of your art and your vibe. So I think I did definitely want to touch on it and ask you what your thoughts are.
I had a conversation with someone the other day about this and like censorship, and how my whole life as a creative I just feel like I've been censored. Not in the way that people would suspect, it's just like little things, like when I was at school and I wanted to draw like nude portraits, for example. I love nudity. That's another part of, I just love anything that's just a little bit too
out there,
you know, people, I remember at school I wanted to, you know, look into that, and it was just like, oh well, you can do it, but you can't display it at the school because kids. So it's just like I constantly had that thing where it was like, you can't do this because other people are gonna be like offended by it, or it's just not, it's not what we want to be showing. And I thought about that over like a couple of years, and like my whole art education. I mean, when I got to uni it was a little bit better because I was allowed to like, there was more creative freedom, and if I wanted to discuss something that's a little bit taboo then I could, and it was openly allowed. But with the cannabis thing, it was just like, finally I have a space where I can just do whatever I want. And I love weed. I love the visuals that come from like that side of recreational use, or even just using it as like a medicine. Like I use it a lot to supplement my creativity. So if I'm like sat there and I'm just like, give me something, I need something, have a little puff on the spliff, and it's like, even if it's not a thing that you recognize there and then, it's like after an hour you're like, oh, I'm away with it, I'm not even thinking about it. See, it's just like
that makes sense.
It's a really powerful tool, and I think I can definitely see the side of like unprofessionalism, which is another thing I like to push a lot in my artwork, because I'm trying to be, as I say, that stoner that society doesn't believe exists, the productive stoner. That's what I love about my community, is I'm building a load of people who are also on the same level as me. They're either using cannabis in their work or in their products, for example, and are being really successful with it, or they are using cannabis in their personal life and they're still able to achieve all these professional things in their life, like that people feel like they wouldn't usually be able to because they're just smoking weed on the on the couch or something.
Well, that-
because that's the vision, isn't
That's
it?
the
That's how
vision.
people see it.
Yeah, and it's like people who are in like California, like they're really cool and they smoke weed and they get it from the dispensary because it's legal there, and they're like, they are really productive, they just smoke weed. It's like another part of them. It's like they are this person. Oh yeah, no, so they smoke weed. Whereas when it's people in the UK, I do find there is this massive stigma around it. Of it being like,
Huge.
they don't work, or if they do work, they don't do anything. They're like menaces to society. They just they're just really into drugs, and it's just not the case. And it's great that you're showing that like you do smoke weed, but yet you're like, yeah, but look how much work I'm getting done. And look
Still
how
got my
productive
shit
I'm-"
together.
Yeah, like
Yo,
I'm not.
like.
But yeah, alcohol's legal.
Yeah, but
Oh
also,
God! Don't get me started.
also like,
Jeez.
what is professionalism? Like you said this before. What even is it anymore? Like, is it how you dress? Like I don't believe in professionalism. I think everyone should just be themselves. Like, you shouldn't have to like censor yourself at work to be able to be taken seriously. I think you should be taken seriously either way. Also, I don't know about you, Roxanne, but I've never smoked weed before. But I took
No comment.
I took CBD oil, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was like, right, yeah, it's gonna help with my sleep and my brain, my anxiety, depression, blah blah blah. So I started taking it, and I think I took too much, and I was having the most crazy vivid dreams. So like,
Really?
I can't even explain it. And like, one of my dreams, my friend gave birth to a cat. And it was so vivid. Like when you wake up and you're like, oh, I had a dream that was crazy.
See, I'm second guessing what kind of CBD oil you had,
It was from
Helen
Barrett.
supposed to happen.
You
but
sure
I
there
googled
wasn't any
it.
magic mushrooms in there too?
I don't know. It was from Helen Barrett, and I did Google it. Like, I went onto it and I was like, CBD oil, vivid dreams, and loads of people said they had this side effect. So like, for me, that's the non-hallucinogenic whatever
It's got no
side.
THC
Yeah.
in
It's got the THC in it. So I'm thinking, imagine my creativity and my vivid dreams and creativity, like
you might have got around
my inspiration if I actually smoke weed. So like, when you were like, oh yeah, it brings my creativity on, I was thinking, yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, I don't know what I'd be like on it. Imagine me on weed.
I think you'd be a panicky mess. I think you would be such a panicky mess.
Yeah, I would. But I
think
you.
it's for me. Obviously, I've been smoking like nearly every day for like about 6 years now. So I'm a heavy user, but I don't know how to explain it. If you were to like just sit there and be like, oh, okay, I've never had weed before, I'm gonna have a little toke and see how we go, chances are you probably will have that experience of sort of melting into the couch, just wanting to giggle away, not really wanting to work, which is fine. Like, I feel that as a heavy user and someone who doesn't do that, I kind of miss doing that, because it's like I'm constantly being productive when I'm smoking, and I'm using it as a tool rather than like as a knock yourself out for the evening kind of thing, which is a positive thing, because it means that I'm not being ruled by it. I am using it as a tool rather than it ruling my life. But yeah, it's as I say, it's a big part of DoodLEX, and obviously smoking on Instagram is another big thing. Like, I don't know if it's the smoking, it's more just like, I feel like the algorithm is just not very good at picking out when someone is like selling illegal tender and someone is like just posting up artwork of like a picture of something that's illegal. Do you know what I mean? It's same with like the whole nudity thing. Like, a drawing of a nipple might stay, might not. They say that the censorship is real, and that added pressure, as you say, like on top of building your social media platform, is just like, oh yeah, my account could be taken down at any point. But that's why I try to be really careful. Like, if you check through my captions and stuff, like if there's something that I think might be a little bit ambiguous to the algorithm, I'll say nothing illegal for sale here, as if to say like, there's nothing, like, I'm not doing anything wrong, just to point out
as simple
so that
terms. But that's it. Like, my Instagram started off as a sex education Instagram when I started doing all my... When I converted it from my personal account to uploading more art, because that's what I did at uni. I looked into sex, gender, porn, everything like that. So that was what naturally progressed into my Instagram, and then I ended up getting flagged. I got loads of artwork taken down, so then Instagram then pushed me, and then obviously it's pushed me into do what I do today, where there's no nudity. But then I have like a very secret sexy illustration account that I kind of just run every now and again. But then
I love that.
That's so it's not got
it as well.
It's not got my name attached to it. So if that account goes down, it doesn't it doesn't reflect. It's not like FOXANNE's sexy drawings. It's something completely else. Like, I've got like a completely different persona. But that is something that I've done because I can't afford to lose my livelihood and lose my Instagram account. Touch wood, let's touch other ones.
Yeah.
See, it's like so I've had illustrations of like ladies in bikinis, or like, you know, like with legs out or something, and it's been flagged, and I'm not allowed to put it on my store because it's like adult content. And I'm like, but it's a drawing, and it's not. I'm not allowed to promote anything that's got alcohol in it. But it's like a drawing of someone holding a glass of wine. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to. But I'm not selling alcohol. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's really weird, isn't it? Like, where do we draw the line? Because I totally get it, like, in the respect of, like, if someone drew something that was offensive, doesn't matter if it's a drawing, it's still offensive.
Yeah.
But then that side of, like, the censorship, it's just like, how can a drawing of a, like, female body be... I can't.
How is it offensive? And like, children aren't allowed on in social media anyway. You're not allowed on social media unless you're 13 years old.
That's the argument. It's like, but what if kids are about? Well, they shouldn't have social media then. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a huge thing that I think. Like, I wasn't allowed to have social media until I was of age. Like, my mum was really... She's like, you're not having Facebook until you're old enough to have it. And it was a big thing for me. Whereas I find, like, some parents just don't seem to care or see the, like, impact that having their young child on social media can be. Not even just for the child, but for everyone else who has to, like, navigate. Like, if a 13-year-old kid came across my page, I would feel slightly responsible for, like, influencing a particular... narrative onto a child, because there's lines you cross, and there's lines I don't want to cross, and it's like, I don't want to encourage like a 13-year-old kid to start using psychedelic drugs, for example, because that's not what I'm trying to do. It's like,
but at the end of the day, it's the parents' responsibility to know what their child's doing, and it's not your responsibility at all.